everybody. Welcome. I'm Natalie, and this is Scientology Life After a Cult, where we talk about Scientology culty things. Today, we're going to get into how Scientologist Grant Cardone is upset that he is once again being called a Scientologist. He's also calling out climate change and demanding a revolt in California. We're going to get into that. There's a lawmaker in Japan making a curious comment about children and Scientology during their recent opening of a Scientology mission in Osaka. William Gude, Audit LA, Henry Winkler, and other celebrities are sharing reports of arsonists setting fires in LA and the Hollywood area during these California wildfires. That and quite a bit more we're going to talk about today. Thank you, moderators, for being here. Hello, members. Hello, everybody in the live chat. You know what today is. It's Aloha Friday. It's Aloha Friday. It is Friday. Yep, it is. For a split second, I was like, oh my God, is it Friday? It is. My phone just told me. So, as per usual, I love it when you guys throw those alohas, those hearts, those flowers in the chat. Keep things super aloha, even more so on today, Aloha Friday. I appreciate all of you. Thank you guys for being here. Your kind comments, your shout outs to the mods, to each other. Okay, let's start things off with Japan. We got to talk about this Osaka situation. Brace yourself. Gird your loins, because this is a Scientology press release. So bracing for propaganda. All right. So Scientology, it would seem, officials and dignitaries welcome the newest ideal Scientology mission in Osaka, Japan. We're going to skip through the top part. I'm going to link this, articles, other videos down below, and you guys can take today, Aloha Friday weekend, whatever you want, and to your heart's content, just work through all that content. It basically just is Scientology good, blah, 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 Scientology good. So here is a picture from that opening. Make sure you guys can see it there. Yes, you can. Here is the part that caught my attention here. Nayagawa City, Osaka, City Councilor Daisuke Oku is a humanitarian who played a pivotal role. You know what? I take back what I said. He might not be a lawmaker. What is a city councilor in Japan? I don't know. Nancy, can you Google that for me just so I make sure I understand that and have that right? City councilor. This is in Osaka. What does that mean? Anyways, this guy played a pivotal role in the adoption of legislation calling for mandatory reporting of abuse discovered in psychiatric hospitals, making Nayagawa one of the first municipalities of the country to take this crucial step. So this guy has been involved. He got involved with Scientology through the Citizens Commission on Human Rights. Goes on to say, and this is a quote, children are often treated as helpless and passive beings. So this is the guy in Osaka, the official in Osaka saying this. Children are often treated as helpless and passive beings, but their potentials are, in fact, immeasurable. If education crushes that potential, then as a lawmaker, I must correct it. I know. Okay, so first off, let me say this. I'm not saying he's wrong. Right there, everything can be improved, especially when it comes to our kids in education. I don't know a lot about how it works in Japan on account of I do not live there. This next part here is the part that gets a little like, ew, like, are you a Scientologist? I mean, just it's this idea, like there's truth, right? Children, of course, have immeasurable potential, but they are still children. And something that all of us here, former Scientologists and all of you, never in Scientology, but all in on ending this cult. We all agree on the fact that no, children are not big beings in little bodies. That leads to a lot of abuse within Scientology itself, having that point of view. So he goes on to say, if education crushes that potential, then as a lawmaker, okay, that's where I got the idea he was a lawmaker. So he is a lawmaker. As a lawmaker, I must correct it. I know from working with Scientologists that you share my reality on children. Okay, former Scientology friends in the audience, you share my reality on children and my never-in friends. Hey, Joe Buchanan, do people talk like that? Is it? I mean, that's a Scientology thing. We are in reality with each other when we both agree that the wall over there is white. We are in reality with each other when we agree that the sun comes up each day. I've not heard people outside of Scientology talk about that, like kind of like that shared reality, but I could be wrong because, you know, I've only ever, I had the Scientology way of saying it and I'm not sure. Tell me, you guys, do you walk around, is that a thing? They share my reality? That sounds Scientology to me. But you guys tell me what you think. Tell me what you think in the chat. Tell me what you think if you're on the replay. Let's see. I know from working with Scientologists that you share my reality on children and you fiercely fight for the rights of children. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Okay, one, I realized I didn't pull that up. I will pull it back up. But are we talking about the same Scientology here? What is happening, Japan? Has the word not gotten out to you yet about this? So Nancy pulled up the House of Counselors has 248 members who serve 6-year terms, 2 years longer than those of the House of Representatives. Okay, thank you, Nancy. That gives a lot of good context. Nisa says he doesn't have a clue that Scientology abuses children every day. Yeah, if he really had the information, I find it hard to believe that he would double down like this unless he's a Scientologist. Then it would make more sense. Okay, so let's continue to look at this. This is why I am so thankful and heartened by this brand new home for Scientology in Osaka. This mission offers solutions based on Scientology founder L. Ron Hubbard's research on child rearing. I'm losing my mind over here. This is how you're painting this. This is how you're putting it forward, that Scientology is so amazing with children. I find it interesting that they're pushing this in Japan because they know they are not going to get away with that in the United States. There's too many people who know and talk about the abuses, especially involving children in Scientology, that have occurred since day one, where children are seen as big beings in little bodies and giving responsibilities they could never possibly control and being made to do training routines that desensitize them and get rid of their instincts and intuition when it comes to, this doesn't feel right for me. I'm not liking this. No, get your training routines in and face it and be there comfortably. It's crazy. I agree, Cubana Chica. This man is insane and he needs a reality check. I couldn't believe what I just could not believe what I was reading here. I could not. This mission offers solutions based on Scientology's founder L. Ron Hubbard's research on child rearing. This mission in Osaka is being represented on, hey, come here and learn how to raise your kids from Scientology, from L. Ron Hubbard. Learning that Mr. Hubbard developed a technology of study, Mr. Oku realized its potential for helping children learn anything. This is vital to the success of the next generation. Spreading something effective to the world is a truly noble endeavor. The responsibility that rests on the shoulders of the Osaka mission staff is not a small one. I offer my congratulations with the sincere hope that you will fulfill that responsibility and contribute to realizing a brighter Osaka and a brilliant Japan. Oh my goodness. I'm going to put that down below. You guys can finish reading it and get completely up in arms on your own time, because I could not believe what I was reading. But there you go. If there's anybody watching in the Japan area or Osaka, they do have a Scientology org in Tokyo, and they have this mission in Osaka. I'm not sure if they have other ones. I would love to hear somebody out there. Yeah, survived the Kool-Aid. Lost in translation. No kidding. And again, this is a Scientology press release, right? So who knows the real context of a lot of this? Yeah, Jolie, it is a Scientology press release. So it's coming from Scientology. Lacey Silver, this is how I felt. Japan will never accept Scientology. I agree. I would find out such a hard time. Farrell Cheryl, hey, good to see you. Oh, I just cannot. I'm constantly saying that these days. Every day is just one. I cannot with these people after another. It really is. Yeah, Chantel, I agree with you. He's either a Scientologist or I can't read that. It's too small for my old lady eyes. Lacey Silver, my cousins are Japanese. Yeah, now granted, okay, I was raised by Japanese Scientologists because my stepdad, who my mom married when I was 5 and got us into Scientology, was Japanese. My mom then divorced him and married my grandpa, his dad, grandpa dad. You all know about grandpa dad. And if you do play the grandpa dad drinking game, I've got some beautiful green tea here. Grandpa dad, of course, was also Japanese, Okinawan. And yeah, it was interesting. Interesting indeed. But I just don't see that this is going over. Love Maddie, probably because they can't expand here. I did hear that it is expanding in Japan. Why? I don't know. Probably because it can't expand here and they know it. But just more word, more education, more word needs to be gotten out to Japan. Now, speaking of Scientology recruitment, let's take a look at a clip that somebody captured showing Scientology recruiting during the wildfires in Pasadena. Shocking! I'm shocked. Natalie, what are you saying? Scientology recruiting during a natural disaster? Girl, yes. Spoiler alert. I know you guys saw this coming. I know you did. Let's take a look at this video here. Check it out. You got the volunteer minister there.
Scientology is going to force everyone to sign the $1 billion a year contract in order to help them. I know, that's why we cannot have them. I'm going to talk to them right after this, because this is, look, she's looking so sincere. She don't give a damn. She's just waiting for him to sign that $1 billion contract.
So this is from a TikTok. I cannot read it. You guys, I'm wearing my reading glasses, but this print on the internet just needs to be bigger. I don't know if that they make reading glasses stronger, but I can't read it. TikTok, rock, something. Maybe somebody else can read it to shout out the channel, the TikTok channel.
She has a notepad ready. You guys see?
SPTV fans shared it on Facebook, but the original content came from TikTok.
The notepad in her hand? Say no to Scientology. Save.
Interesting. And I'm sure we are going to see more of that. We are going to see more of Scientology recruiting during any disaster. This is part of what they do. They activate the volunteer ministers. And let me tell you guys something. Okay, I'm going to tell you guys because it's just us here. Okay, it's just us talking. I know y'all ain't going to spread this around. And if you do, that's fine too. I have been hearing from some under the radar Scientologists that they are being like tracked down. I'm talking reaching out to people. I can't be too specific. Through family members, through ex-family members, trying to reach them very recently since these fires started. So I don't know if they're just desperate for people to throw a volunteer minister shirt on and get out there, but they're tracking down Scientologists who have not showed up for a long time like crazy, you guys. Keep an eye out for that. And if they've reached out to you, I would love to hear from you. Natalie at lifeafteraccult.com. You do not need to share who you are or anything like that if you don't want to. I mainly am curious. Thank you, Nancy. That is who did that video there on TikTok. You're the best. Yeah, something to keep an eye on with this Scientology reaching out. I think it shows a lot of just kind of how desperate they really are. They're reaching out to people through people. It's crazy. If someone did this to you, tried to track you down the way that Scientology does, you would just get all of the icks, and you should. And you should. And there are a lot of people who have stepped away from Scientology and just ghosted them, who are being tracked down. They are trying to reach them. No, not me, Ren Listens. What? They've reached out to you, Natalie? No, they don't reach out to me. Well, I mean, they reach out to me, but not as them. They reach out to me as trolls trying to stir up trouble. That's how they reach out. And we will get to that. We will wake up the Office of Special Affairs soon. Not just yet, but very soon. Now let's look at a clip that a bunch of you sent to me. What I like about this is, so this is from MSNBC, Rachel Maddow, And don't come for me. I've got like multiple news sources from different points of view, not on this one, but I always try because I like it because there's so many different people who watch my recap here that I get a lot of different sources of information and I try to share from different places. Here's what's so great about this clip. She totally calls out Scientology on something I had no idea about. So I wanted to share this with y'all. My former Scientology friends, I'd love to hear if you knew about this back in the day. I don't know why I didn't know about it. Maybe I wasn't paying attention. I don't know. And of course, my never in friends, never in Scientology, but all in on ending this cult. Did you hear about this? Because I didn't. I didn't know about this. All right. And you're all like, what is it? Just tell us already. Okay, look at this clip. Listen to this.
Criteria for this.
So she's talking about Billy Long, right? Who I think is Trump's pick for the IRS commissioner.
Particular award. But Billy Long won it. While he was in Congress, he did repeatedly introduce legislation to abolish the IRS, to, in fact, abolish the income tax as a thing, and instead replace it with a huge 30% sales tax on everything you buy.
And I'm not saying that's good, that's bad. I don't know enough about it. I mean, let's be honest. Not many of us are walking around in the U.S. going, yeah, the IRS, woohoo. No, we're not. But listen to what she says next.
If that sounds familiar, it's because this very expensive idea was ginned up by the Church of Scientology in the 1990s. It has been kept alive by Republicans like Billy Long ever since.
This is a crackpot proposal that's been kicked around since 1993 when the Church of Scientology dreamed it up. I didn't know that. I gotta get in the chat, y'all. Did you guys know that? Did you hear about that? I didn't. Jess LaBarber says, I'm okay with the IRS going away personally. Yeah, I'm not saying like that's right, wrong, or indifferent. I was very interested. For one, I found it interesting that this is something, if it's true, that Scientology came up with. I have just not heard that about Scientology, and I wanted to know if some of you guys did from back in the day. Now, having said that, Paralyzed to Paralyze, thank you so much for becoming a member. I appreciate you. Thank you. I do remember about that time because that was when Scientology got their IRS win in 93. So I'm like, wow, they got their IRS in 93 and then they were pretty much like abolish the IRS and then have this sales tax. But I remember speaking to Scientologists who were very much pro. They were getting involved in some grassroots movements to abolish the IRS. And at that time, I thought it was mainly because the IRS came so hard at Scientology back in the day. Because, you know, how dare the IRS expect Scientology to pay taxes that they owed at the time back then? What a crazy idea. What a crazy idea. But yeah, interesting. I had not heard about that. So I'm sure we will hear more about it. Now we're going to jump over to LA, you guys. We're going to go over to Los Angeles. Keep your comments coming there. Yeah, Mayor's Girl, exactly. If Scientology is pushing something, I'm highly suspect. Exactly. That's my instinct right off the bat. I'm highly suspect if it's Scientology pushing it because they're not known for having the best interests of society at heart. They say that they want to expand. They want Scientology to grow. They want to create a world, a civilization without war, without insanity. That sounds so good on paper. But if you want us to believe you, Scientology, that you can create a civilization without war and insanity, maybe you should start on L. Ron Hubbard way. Maybe you should start within the Sea organization itself. Get rid of some criminality, get rid of some insanity. Just, you got to kind of start it. It starts at home, right? It starts at home. That sounded Minnesotan. It starts at home where we eat bars. I've lived in Minnesota for so long. When I go back home to Hawaii, my pidgin English, which is kind of how they speak it in Hawaii, a lot of my family does. I go right back into it. But when I show up with my little Minnesota accent, they get such a kick out of that. Spicy Cap Foster, thank you for being a member for 9 months. I appreciate that. Love you, your energy, and your strength. Thank you. Really, I am just sucking it all off of you guys. You guys help me so much. Keep going, showing up every day. I appreciate you. Selena, nobody would be able to buy food, clothing, or anything at 30% sales tax. Yeah, I haven't run the numbers or done the math or even entertained that idea or looked at it. It does sound like a lot. Could it be less? Yeah. All right, let's go over to Hollywood and let's look at Film the Police LA, because William Gude was out there and he was talking about people starting fires there in the Hollywood area. Listen to this, you guys. Let's take a look at this clip. Again, this is Film the Police LA, William Gude.
EMS is not tearing off, so I imagine it's not, the injuries that were sustained are not life-threatening. But yeah, no, I'm not gonna lie. There are too many people that on the street in Hollywood right now that are lighting fires.
So he had seen people, like witnessed people starting fires in that area. And then you go over, let's take a look at Audit LA. Audit LA protest Scientology. You got to go check out her channel if you're not already subscribed and following her. But listen to this statement from Audit LA. Thank God we never had to evacuate, but the county accidentally sent out an evacuation alert this afternoon, then retracted it. Okay, first off, seriously, what can you imagine? Now, I'm going to make this about me right now. So settle in. When I was in Hawaii with my family during what's been being called the missile crisis, where we all thought we were going to die for 38 minutes because every alarm, our phone, the television, the radio was blaring at us that a missile is imminent. And that turned out to be a mistake. The trauma that my family still experiences today from that, because we were all together. My grandson was there. Oliver was very young. We were all in Hawaii on the Big Island visiting family, my grandma, my dad, who they were still alive then. I want to say it was 2018, but that's massively traumatizing. And trust me, a relief after the 38 minutes, and we got word that no, that's not happening. But still, hearing those alarms and stuff still makes my family jump. And to do that and send it out to tell people to evacuate in Los Angeles and Hollywood, and oh no, that was a mistake, it just causes so much more chaos. We have had 3 arson fires set around here this afternoon, but all were extinguished quickly. I've had a migraine all day, which makes me feel nauseous, and I don't blame her one bit. Think about the smoke, the horrific air quality right now. I'm giving myself permission to rest. My thoughts and prayers for everyone who isn't able to sleep in their own bed tonight or hug their loved ones, including their pets. I'm saddened that we have had such horrible leadership. We can't just blame current leadership. This failure goes way back. But now is the time to get through this crisis and do what we can to help each other get through it. Accountability is coming, but for now, I'm hoping and praying for kindness, grace, peace, and love. A girl can dream. And that is Audit LA. So there's been a lot of conversations going on about this, and Arson, Henry Winkler called it out. Some other celebrities who lost their homes were calling it out. We're going to take a look at some of that. There's an article that was out about exactly this. So let's look at it, see what y'all think. California wildfires, police shoot down celebrities floating arson theories. So it's interesting to me because you got like the police shooting down theories that there's arson, yet we see them physically responding to arson calls, and people like William Gude, Audit LA, and a bunch of other people sharing that, oh no, I'm seeing people set fires. One of the most recent ones was at the Kenneth, what was it called? The Kenneth fire they caught the guy who set that fire already. So I feel like there's truth to this, but then you're over here shooting down these ideas. I don't know. Again, just makes me incredibly sus. Like, what in the world? Janet Burns says, SPTV fan posted a clip of someone getting arrested for trying to set an empty house on fire. A neighbor spotted him and called the police. So let's look at some more of this. As the Los Angeles wildfires continue to consume parts of Southern California, leaving homes destroyed and families displaced, many are left wondering how this all happened. Authorities have deployed arson investigators to the Pacific Palisades to determine the origin of the blaze and consumed thousands of structures in the neighborhood. I mean, am I not understanding here? I mean, in the title, it's like we're not, they're shooting down arson claims. Yet in the article, it says they've deployed arson investigators. So how can those two things be true? I don't know. You guys tell me, am I missing something? The cause of the fire remains unknown, and it continues to be under active investigation, Los Angeles Fire Chief Kristen Crowley said Thursday. And there's Henry Winkler there. But some celebrities aren't buying it. There is an arsonist here in LA. Actor Henry Winkler wrote on Wednesday on X, "May you be beaten, unrecognizable, the pain you have caused." Henry Winkler, as you guys know, was, in Happy Days. We remember him from that. I remember him too from Arrested Development. I loved his character in that show. And he's been doing a lot of stuff in Hollywood too, not always acting, but behind the scenes work as well. So I thought this was interesting. So goes on to say, actress Allison Sweeney simply responded, agreed. She agreed as well. Singer Chris Brown took to his Instagram stories on Thursday and wrote, "Someone starting these fires." Dancing with the Stars pro Peta Murgatroyd shared a tweet that was originally posted by political and cultural media personality Xavier DeRusso that reads, "Los Angeles, Southern California, there are at least 5 men going around in ski masks starting fires. Keep an eye out." TV personality Elizabeth Chambers reposted, I think that might be reposted, a screenshot of reports of people allegedly starting fires. "Feels like there's a lot more than nature," she wrote on her Instagram stories. Celebrity podcaster and neuroscientist Andrew Huberman shared a video on X that purportedly shows a group of people standing near what appears to be a freshly started fire in Santa Monica. I think, you know what? I actually think I have that. Let's look at that quick. That tweet that's being referenced.
We're at 302 Pico, and people are lighting fires now. You can see they lit a fire. These guys, not all the people there, but some of those guys lit that fire, and they're actually, the trees caught fire, and then the palms are catching fire. So civilians are now lighting fires down in the so-called, flats around Santa Monica, Venice. So be safe out there. Fire department's been dispatched. We don't have enough water to put this thing out, but we're supposedly on the way.
I mean, there's just multiple reports of people starting fires in the area. All right, let's go back to this article that we're taking a look at here. People are lighting fires in otherwise non-burning areas of LA, Huberman alleged on X, alongside a video. "We don't need more flames out here. Some of those guys lit that fire. The tree has caught fire and the palms are catching fire." Despite the various claims, the Los Angeles Police Department told Fox News Digital, quote, "We have not received any reports of arson." As of Thursday, Los Angeles County Fire Chief Anthony Marone announced that the Eaton and Palisades wildfires were 0% contained. The Eaton fire had spread to 10,600 acres, and the Palisades fire has reached 17,234 acres. Another wildfire in action has been 40% contained. Marone said that blaze was limited to just 348 acres. Firefighters have also successfully stopped the forward progress of the Sunset Fire in the Hollywood Hills. That's the one we talked a lot about. I think it was yesterday, the day before. Streets LA was out there, Jessica Palmadessa as well. Roughly 180,000 people have been evacuated from their homes, and 200,000 more are under evacuation warnings. And then it goes and lists out Billy Crystal, Anna Faris, Sandra Lee, Paris Hilton, and Spencer and Heidi Pratt are among a long list of celebrities who have lost their homes. So that's interesting. It really is, I think. And I love too that, we're seeing it too from people that we follow on social media that are out there saying, like Streets LA, I'm seeing people set fires. Audit LA is reporting on that as well. So interesting thing. I think we're going to be continuing to talk about this for quite some time. If you didn't catch my interview with Gary Jackson Moorhead on my channel, please check it out. I did it a couple days ago. He is a former 20-year plus Riverside firefighter, but also was the security chief for Scientology at the international base. And back then, Jackson had implemented procedures and protocols to prevent fires. He actually went and got educated from the fire department, and he shares a lot of tips on what people can do to keep their homes and themselves safe and things we should think about, and just to be prepared for an emergency storm, things like that. But his added insight about Scientology and what David Miscavige might be thinking during these fires, what they might do or not do, was crazy. Check that out if you haven't seen it already. I'm going to sit down on Monday and do an interview with Gary Jackson Moorhead about his story in the Sea Org, leaving Scientology and his life after a cult. We're going to do that 1 p.m. Central on Monday. If you don't catch it live, please catch it on the replay. Let's see. Don Gloves, good to see you. A friend lost her home where she raised her children in Altadena, and my heart breaks for her. Absolutely. Completely. There's just going to be so much devastation, more than we could possibly even, I think, wrap our heads around. We will come to that, but it's not even over yet. Thank you, Jess. Jackson's interview was very timely and informative. And you as well, Jess LaBarber. You knew Jackson back in the day. In fact, Jess had shared in the comments with us that she knows how to respond to emergencies because of Jackson. And when he was the security chief, he actually did take measures to educate the staff on how the fire department says they should be responding, not just what L. Ron Hubbard said to do. Did they continue to do that? I doubt it. Jackson didn't think so either once he left and got out of there, because who would do it? Who would hold that in place? All right. And yep, Jolie, I get what you're saying. I mean, I don't feel as bad for the people losing their second or third home. Sorry, I'm worried about the regular people. Absolutely. I agree. Don Glove says, I didn't know Jackson was Riverside County Fire until the show yesterday. Grateful for him. Yeah, over 20 years. I think he said 24 years. I'm not 100% sure about that. All right, now we're going to pop over and, switch subjects a little bit. We're going to talk about Scientologist Grant Cardone. Scientologist Grant Cardone is upset that he is once again being called a Scientologist. He's also upset about some other things, and we're going to look into that. But first, I wanted to bring your attention to an article that came out. When was this? This is kind of the first thing that had set him off. This was last summer. Miami real estate. Make sure I got this pulled up. Miami real estate mogul Scientologist lists 42 million mansion on cryptocurrency platform. So this was in July. This article that basically talked about how they were using crypto, about the house, but Grant Cardone got all upset because he was called the Scientologist. And he responded to that. You guys remember this when this happened? This is tied into what I'm going to talk about. So stay with me, track with me here. So that comes out last summer. Grant Cardone was like super upset about it. In fact, he did a little video in response to that I believe was on his Instagram. Let's give this a little listen here and see what he had to say about this publication calling him out as a Scientologist.
Hey, to you guys over at Miami New Times, Alex DeLuca, and the owners of your company, Village Voice Media or something like that, Village Media Group. I want to thank you for the coverage on the listing of our house in Golden Beach for $42 million in Bitcoin. Absolutely true. Thank you for that free coverage.
42 million. That's crazy. It is a big house and it is in Miami. But that still just sounds like so much. Isn't this the house that didn't we watch a video about a week ago? Do you guys remember this? There was a video and I forgot who did it, but he was calling out Grant Cardone because originally I do believe he was asking for 80 million for this property. I don't think I'm mixing up my properties. But I shared a clip. He was calling out Grant Cardone for being like, oh, this is like worth $80 million. And the guy was like, no, it is not worth $80 million. I think it's the same one. But anyways, it was listed for 42.
Oh, look, I've never heard of any of you people, but I do want to make you famous.
He's talking about the person, Alex DeLuca, who wrote this article. I'm going to make you famous.
I want to make you famous for religious hate, religious bias, and religious prejudice. And hopefully somebody will hold you guys accountable.
Now, this is an argument that Grant Cardone is not alone in putting this forth. It's one that Scientology themselves tries to use, that when somebody comes forward and says, hey, this was my experience in Scientology, it was a violation of my human rights, it's continuing to happen, there are harmful practices like disconnection and covering up SA of adults and also children in Scientology. Scientology's response tends to be, that is religious bigotry. You are bigoted towards Scientology. You are a religious bigot. It's something they've been doing since way back when, to try and position the whistleblower, the critic, as being a religious bigot. And despite the fact that it doesn't really work for Scientology to do this, and it often ends up backfiring on them, especially today in these days, they do still continue to do it. It isn't still in the toolbox. Whip it out, Grant Cardone, of who you want to call out as a religious bigot because they called you a Scientologist. All right, let's finish watching his clip here.
If I was Jewish, Muslim, Protestant, Catholic, if I was a gay man, you would not have that in the title.
Now, that's true. That's true. I think it's important to acknowledge that. If it was for any of those groups that he named, yeah, people would be like, what are you doing? But they're not when it's Scientology, unless you are a Scientologist or Scientology themselves, because the vast majority of Americans recognize Scientology as a human trafficking cult, or at a minimum as a cult than a religion. Yes, the IRS gave you your tax exempt status. Yes, you get to hide behind that and being called a religion, but it doesn't mean that the rest of us have to accept that. And even though what he's saying is true, you wouldn't call out, gay man sells $42 million mansion in Miami. But what he's failing to acknowledge is Scientology is just not in that category. And they brought it on themselves. It's because of the actions of Scientology that people are outraged when you bring it up, and why they call it a cult. He doesn't acknowledge any of that, because it's never defend, it's always attack. And now he's calling the person who wrote the article a religious bigot. Did we finish that?
But because you're hacks and you're lazy and you don't know what you're talking about, you use my religion to clickbait. And that's because you're lazy and you're a hack, okay? But what it did show was that you have religious hate and prejudice in your heart.
Very interesting. Coming from Grant Cardone. So this happened. We talked about when he got upset, and he actually did that video for being called out as a Scientologist. I don't know. I think there's a lot worse things you could be called. And I am also, like I said, I am acknowledging his point. That point he made is right. You wouldn't put that title in there for other people, but that tells you where we're at as a society in relation to Scientology. It's being called out. You're not going to like it, Grant Cardone. You are not going to like or enjoy the tsunami that is continuing to come for Scientology. The tsunami of truth, of exposing, of bringing these things to the attention of lawmakers and people who can do something about it, while educating the public on what to watch for, so you don't fall for not just Scientology, but a cult, period. And of course, he is not going to like that. Well, there is a new article out in the same publication by the same person who, I'm not gonna lie, I'm loving this. And look at this. Look at the title. This one's just out. This just came out yesterday. Miami Scientologist Grant Cardone discounts climate change as his Malibu home burns. So again, she does it again. I think it's a she. Actually, I'm not 100% if Alex is a male or female. The author of the article does it again and calls Grant out again as a Scientologist. So let's take a look at this. And again, I am not here to argue for or against climate change. My interest in sharing the story with you right now at this moment has to do with what Grant Cardone is saying and putting forth, and the way that, the media is kind of going at him in this way. So this says California fires will be blamed on climate change, but do not believe it, Cardone wrote on X. So that's a quote from Grant Cardone. And that, let's see, is that where his place, Miami influencer and Scientologist Grant Cardone, took to social media to decry climate conspiracies? Okay. On Wednesday afternoon, as devastating wildfires tore across thousands of acres in Los Angeles, the beachfront Malibu home of Miami resident and prominent Scientologist Grant Cardone caught fire. Videos Cardone posted on X, formerly known as Twitter, show firefighters battling flames engulfing part of his 9,500 square foot home on exclusive Carbon Beach, aka Billionaire's Beach. Photos Cardone later showed show the aftermath of the destruction, the charred remains of a glitzy lounge area and fire pit on the home's sprawling deck overlooking the Pacific Ocean. Cardone's residence appeared to be the last one standing among the row of scorched mansions. But even as his home went up in flames before his very eyes, Cardone took to social media to diminish climate change as a factor in the ongoing disaster. California fires will be blamed on climate change, but do not believe it, he wrote on X. These fires will produce hundreds, and this is Grant Cardone talking, I believe still. These fires will produce hundreds of billions in losses due to incompetence, corrupted budgets, an oppressive coastal commission, overregulation, bizarre environmental initiatives, homeless camps, and actually, wait, I have the whole quote actually here pulled up. I'm going to read it on my other tab here. So says, hold on a second. Oh no, that's different. Okay, so that's all it shows in that particular article, but it does go over, twitter.com refused to connect. Okay, that link didn't work. I'm back. Had an issue with a link there. So you get the point here. They do another article about what Grant Cardone is saying about climate change. I'm going to pull it back up here so I can read the highlights to you here. Here it is. There we go. Now we got that link working. Now we got it working. Okay. Give me just a moment, you guys. I'm going to pull this back up and let's continue on with what Grant Cardone has to say here. All right. Get rid of that. Won't go away. Let's see. Oh, you know what? That is the wrong one. I got two Grant Cardone articles. Here we go. The one about climate change. This is the one that we want to share. Keep all my Grant Cardone articles straight. All right, here we go. So that's what he said on Twitter here. And you can see the tweet there. He kind of goes on a bit more. He talks about how, okay, so the sentence that I wanted to finish was this one. These fires will produce hundreds of billions in losses due to incompetence, corrupted budgets, an oppressive coastal commission, overregulation, bizarre environmental initiatives, homeless camps, and freak liberal agendas, all combined with no common sense. Santa Ana winds, low humidity, and fires have existed in the state of California forever. The state's lack of leadership, Newsom, has been unwilling to invest in permanent solutions like burying electrical, increase access to plentiful water, and managing forestry floors. Instead, wasting hundreds of billions on high-speed rails to nowhere, liberal agendas, and climate conspiracies. I want to thank Malibu Fire Department for doing their best to save our home on Carbon Beach. They were amazing and heroic. And you can see images there. You can see images there of his home. So, let's see. That was pretty much the gist of it there. So Grant Cardone's out now, go running around and, sharing the pictures of his home that built down and sharing what he has to say about this. I wonder, do you guys think, tell me what you think. Do you think Grant Cardone will eventually end up in politics in some way. I feel like he's been kind of like putting that foot forward for a little while now. Tell me what you think. One in the chat if you think Grant Cardone is getting into politics. I mean, he already has to a degree, but I mean, will he run for office? Like, what will happen? And then 2 in the chat if you don't, or you got another theory about it. I just think he does seem to have a lot to say. He does seem to have a lot to say. Okay, so interesting. So we got some ones in there. Mama Obel's like, yeah, I think he's going to make a run to do that, to be involved more politically, potentially run for office. Fuzzy Pink Handcuffs is like, please no. Bob doesn't think so, doesn't think he'll do it. Rona doesn't think so. Orica doesn't think so. Trish says no, he just influences them with his money. And that's true too. And I think that's still being involved in politics, not necessarily running for office, but you're out there, working to influence things in the way that you want them to go using, all of the money and power that you have. Julie Markham, though, says 1, but I hope he's not successful. You're right, Lisa Pete, 1, he was at the GOP convention. He was. Staja's like, yes, definitely. Tennessee Tear says totally. Bina doesn't think so. He does. He has a bigger say with his connection. Oracle. I'm sorry, I called you Orica. Your girl can, like, this screen needs to be bigger. I need to I do this on my laptop. I'm like, do I just need a bigger computer where everything can be bigger for me? I think so. So I can see. Ren listens. I think Grift will test the water. All right, now let's go over. Let's see. Why did I have this pulled up? This is another Grant Cardone. This is when he was going off on the recent article, the one that I just read you about, and then he took to X. He says, I want to introduce you to Alex DeLuca and Miami New Times, who demonstrate religious bias, prejudice, and hate. Twice they've written articles about me, labeling my religion in their headlines, showing religious bias. These are the actions of religious bigots, discrimination, and hate groups. Make sure you tag them and give them a shout out. Yes, I agree. Tag them and give them a shout out. Great job on calling out Grant Cardone this way. And again, he's just going to continue to try to push this religious bigot agenda while not acknowledging the harm and the harmful practices, the harmful practice of disconnection, covering up crimes in Scientology, the mind control, the brainwashing, the tactics used. Could it be? Because Grant Cardone has his own cult going on. Reports say, we're going to do an interview coming up with somebody who used to work with Grant Cardone and be in that, what he calls a cult, that he sees now as a cult. Maybe he has his own, right? And he's like, hey, you can't be doing this. What's he going to say when you can't blame everything on Scientology and people are biased against you because you're a Scientologist? No, a lot of it is just because of who you are and the things that you say and the things that you do. Even people in your own organization that got nothing to say with Scientology have been leaving and spilling the tea. Julie Markham, exactly. Why is he so ashamed of his religion? I know. Krista, would the cult of Scientology even support his campaign? He's a liability more than an asset. I agree. But Scientology is so desperate that I don't know what they're going to do anymore. Honestly, they're so desperate. Hey, Phil Jones, good to see you. And thank you, Lupita. So that's what he went on X and he had to go ahead and share there. He also shared another tweet, something about, the wildfires and what he feels needs to be done. Yes. And Cardone recruits celebs for his cult too. That is very true. Pays them to come and speak and, lend their support or at least have it look that way to his organization. So we've seen him do that for a long time. A very long time. Lana, are you here? Yeah, I'm here. Oh. You guys want to say hi to Lana quick? Lana slept over. We had sister sleepover.
Aloha. Hopefully everybody's having a cult-free day.
Lana and I, we always love to, if we can too. Everyone's like, hi, Lana. I wish we had more time today because Lana and I weren't able to do a video, but I know we will do another one soon. We're going to try and handle her setup at home so we could do it when she's home as well. See about that. I should have done that the last time I was at her house. I got to do that. Lots of aloha, Lana. She says, aloha. All right. Thank you guys for all that aloha. I wish we had time to jump on. Vanessa says your hair looks great. She says, woohoo. Lana and I are both growing out our gray. We're 2 years apart, as you guys can see. So I'm getting a haircut today and I'm not coloring. My hairstylist reached out and she's like, okay, are we still not coloring? I'm like, no, I'm so far I am dealing. But my plan, unless I change my mind, is to grow it out. And it's been an interesting experiment. So we're just going to just do my usual little bit of a cut, but I'm not going to color. So we'll see. We'll see. Cubana Chica's all stay strong, Nat. Stay strong. Stay strong. Hair. Oh, Nancy gave me heat. I'm going to throw you under the bus, Nancy. I had my hair up this morning because it's obviously, not doing anything because I'm getting my hair cut today. So, I'm like prepared for that amazing wash. That's the best part. I would go somewhere that would just like wash my hair and massage my scalp for like an hour, maybe the shoulders and neck too. Is there such a thing where you can go and lay down and then have your hair washed while getting like maybe even a full body massage? I just feel like, take my money. Can I work here to get a discount? I want that. I do. But that is what's happening. And I know you guys come here on the Scientology Culty Recap to find out where I'm at with my experiment in growing out my gray hair. And now you know. Thank you, Ren Listens. Yes, it is those natural highlights. Marcy says, be brave. My gray is massive and need to get it colored again. Mama Opal, too, just recently colored her hair. She shared with us. She's like, nope, I'm out. I'm out. Well, I'm still going and I still reserve the right to change my mind and go back to coloring. But for now, I'm trying it out. Manj, I grew mine out and I love it. See, Lana inspired me because she's been growing hers out for a long time. And I look and I'm like, oh, I like it. And to just not have to deal anymore with dyeing my hair, which I've done for so many years. I feel like I got gray early. Lacey says you can go to a massage therapist for a head massage. You know what? You're right. I guess it'd be the same. I could say, can you focus on my head, shoulders, and back? Yes. Yes. No more color, Nancy says. That's right. Mama Opal says I gave in. Nikki, that's interesting. So your mom does like a little red or a bright color. I've seen that too. See, Julie Markham is here for the hair update. This is breaking news, y'all. Breaking news. If my hair wasn't so dirty right now, I would actually show you more of it so you can see my progress with the gray. But I appreciate your support in the transition that I'm making here. Cece says, I was 62 before I quit coloring my roots every month. I always did it myself, so it wasn't the expense. It was a ridiculous waste of time. Yeah, I'm not down anymore with the expense, the time, and, just continuing to put those chemicals on my body. Not that I won't do it again. I just feel like I need a break and I want to see what happens. Lacey went purple, been going purple for 4 years. Oh, very cool. Lisa Pete had turquoise. That's fun. That is fun. Mock says, when you're naturally curly haired, brother colors your hair, you get the best head massage. That's nice. When I did do a box for a long time, my Tony would actually do my color. I would have to make an appointment with Anthony. Mr. Anthony is what he called himself when he was doing my hair. He was hilarious about it. Just totally hilarious. I wish I would have videoed it because his hairdresser character just really made me crack up. But thank you guys for your support in growing out my hair, because that's the other thing. I'm like, really, Natalie, you're going to grow your gray out when you're on the internet 6 days a week at a minimum? And I'm like, yeah, I am. I am. Because why not? Why not? And you guys know this, especially those of you who've been with me for over a year, right? Since the beginning when I started this channel. Going through Tony's illness and his death, it's a lot of why am I doing this or why am I doing that? And there's just some things I just don't have the bandwidth to handle. So I'm just not handling it, or I'm not going to do it. As I work on myself, as I think about myself, as I put my needs in front of pretty much everybody. For the first time in my life, those of you familiar with my story know I was raised in Scientology, married at 17, had my first child at 19, have three amazing kids, 2 bonus kids with Tony, did about 30 years of active parenting. Love those kids, love and hope that I really did make an impact. I do believe that I did with them. That's what they tell me. But I am so embracing empty nesting and thinking about Natalie, something that my Tony told me to do even before he got sick with cancer. He'd been saying it the whole time he knew me. And I'm listening now. Anyways, I'm kind of like going like really off topic here. Yeah, priorities. Exactly. Thank you, Sandy. That's exactly it. All right. That's what I have for you now. Please hit that like. And if you really want to stick it to Scientology, hit that subscribe. If you want to double down on it, share the video and set your notification bell to all. Happy Aloha Friday, you guys. I will see you again soon. Meanwhile, you know the drill. Have an amazing cult-free Aloha Friday.